The Court of the Dragon, and it follows a man who, having read the play, seeks the comfort of a familiar church house. But something is wrong. While the pastor gives a decidedly strange sermon on how nothing can harm the soul, the organ music becomes dissonant, disturbing, almost nausea-inducing. When the man looks at the organist to see who would play such a tune, he finds himself met with the most hateful gaze he's ever experienced. He hurries out of the place, but the
Hey YouTube, I hope you enjoy this video, and don't forget to check out the original creator, Foundry, who created the two videos I will be reacting in this one today. Okay, so today we'll be reacting to Foundry's two King in Yellow videos. The first one is "This Story Will Ruin Your Mind," and I think the other one is the more in-depth version of what the King in Yellow is. And I really like Tail Foundry, and if you guys also like Tail Foundry, please let me know if you want me to react to more of their videos. I have I have a book, hold on. Okay. So I've got some videos, like stuff that I wanted to watch. Like other than like this one, like I've got the Apocalypse. That's the one I really want to watch because I feel like that'll be interesting. But there's also ones where like um making hold on. So, sorry, I don't we've got trauma magic, inanimate objects as characters, why kids' stories should be darker, made of human bodies, why fairy tales get away with being so bad. I got a whole bunch of stuff that I want to watch. I watch this channel like on and off, and so I don't normally see their videos. So if their like videos do come up, I do watch them. So let me know if you want me to look at any of those. I definitely do want to see the Apocalypse.
Oh, I really thought this video was going to be about a monster. That's why I planned it for Halloween. I've been hearing about the King in Yellow for ages, and despite all the books and games and references it's cropped up in, I feel like I've never really understood what it is. Like, they always make it sound like some kind of big, tentacly demon, but it somehow feels wrong beside Cthulhu and H.P. Lovecraft's other space octopus gods. Well, perhaps against my best judgment, I finally went and read the source material, the original book. Turns out, the King in Yellow isn't really much of a monster at all. Really, it sort of says that we are.
Okay, so I have read a bit of King Yellow. I think I've like talked about this while I'm trying to get into reading it, but like I just haven't like found time, and I'm just not bothered. But I have read like the first few pages. So if you guys do want me to also go like through the actual book, then let me know. I'm gonna suck at this. I can't read for the life of me. But like so spoiler. So in like the first few pages, the because they're split up into different stories, and I think in this video, because I have watched it before but I can't like remember like anything. It talks about all the different stories, and the first one was where this person like had an accident and stuff, but then like he reads the book King in Yellow, and he goes a bit insane. So this kind of gives like a this video kind of gives like a brief like explanation of them, like of each like main, I think the main stories in them, because well technically they're plays, but you get what I mean. And so I find
We
it really
writers.
interesting. No, this video is old, it's 4 years old, so their style is a lot different from their current videos.
In case you didn't know, until the end of the month, we're giving away free Tayloid keychains to everyone who joins our Patreon at the $10 tier. And there are only a few days left, so if you do want to get one this way, now's the time. Or if you'd rather just get one directly, they're also available for just $15 in our merch store. To everyone who already decided to buy one, and to all of our current patrons, thank you so much. You
I'll put the
really help us to keep
channel
making
in
these
the
videos.
description, so if
We
you
love
do
you.
want to check them out, you can.
If you have no idea what any of this is, don't worry. You're probably not alone. Most people who know of the King in Yellow know it as a tentacled elder god invented back during the pulp sci-fi boom. To them, it's a distinct alien entity. I guess it's sort of become that, but the true version of the King in Yellow is really a book of short stories written by the author Robert W. Chambers around the turn of the 20th century. All the tales in the book are connected by a fictional play also called The King in Yellow, which, in the world of the book, is known for its remarkable influence. In the stories, the play has been censored, condemned, and banned by almost every public organization, not because it contains anything immoral, but because it has the power to change its readers in ways that are hard to fathom. It has spread through the world, quote, like an infectious disease, to the point where almost everyone interested in the arts has at least heard of it, if not read bits and pieces.
Yeah, because so the character that I was reading like well the in the first story, he mentioned that all the book got banned. And no, I think during that time there was like a war going on, and well, not a war, well, like a war just happened, but like the French government and like all that stuff got involved, and so they seized all the books, but then some people actually had the copy, and the man, he read the book, but before he got to the next chapter, he went to go like burn it, but then the book didn't really burn, so so then he actually read the chapter, and so he went a bit insane,
I wouldn't
and
really
I think
describe the
this
stories
is
in this
the
book as
video will
scary
talk
or
about it
even
more.
existential like a lot of H.P. Lovecraft's work. They're just weird. It's hard to say how exactly, but there's this dissonant quality to them. Watching how the play affects the characters and their lives somehow gives me this sense of repulsion, like my mind is trying to reject something before I even know what that something is. And it all begins with a poem in the book's dedication. Along the shore the cloud waves break. The twin suns sink behind the lake. The shadows lengthen in Carcosa. Strange is the night where black stars rise and strange moons circle through the skies, but stranger still is lost Carcosa. Songs that the Hyades shall sing where flap the tatters of the king must die unheard in dim Carcosa. Song of my soul, my voice is dead. Die thou unsung as tears unshed shall dry and die in lost Carcosa. Casilda's Song in The King in Yellow, Act 1, Scene 2.
I wonder if that's because I've obviously I've watched the Minecraft ARG searching for a world that doesn't exist, and of course like the King Yellow ties into it. That's why I wanted to watch these two videos. But and I have also watched the Christmas version, and like Darlow does say what the like poem is in the thing, but I'm not sure if that's like the actual poem or like the Christmas like fied poem. Like, well, yeah, I don't know how to explain it, because this is the original one. Like in the book, I'm like, because I make sure I like try to find like the original, and that this exact poem was in it. So I'm and obviously the poem in the Searching for a World That Doesn't Exist is a bit different. It's not. It doesn't mention. I don't think it mentions Carcosa. It just talks. I can't even remember what the poem was. Ah, you know what? It's fine. It's fine.
I know that must sound like a lot of beautiful gibberish right now. It certainly did to me the first time I read it, but that's part of the intrigue. It sets a tone of disorientation and foreboding, depicts a world we can't quite grasp, where suns sink behind lakes, where souls have songs which the deadened voice can no longer sing. The impression is deep, but you can hardly articulate where it comes from, and that confusion is important. After this one fleeting glimpse of the play, the strangeness of it still marinating in our minds, the first actual story in the book begins. It's called The Repairer of Reputations, And it's where
Yeah, I
people
think
seem
this
to
is the
draw
one I've
most of
read.
their inspiration for The King in Yellow from. It's about a man named Hildred Castaigne who, after reading the play for the first time, becomes embroiled in a cultish plot to overthrow the US government. He's convinced by a professional blackmailer who keeps a massive network of debtors that
Yeah.
he...
In the book, because I've only read like a few pages, but I think this blackmailer, um, as the video says, is actually the doctor that appears because so he got into like an accident. I can't remember if this is the right one or not, but he got into an accident. He fell off his horse and broke his leg. So he went to his doctor, and it just spiraled on from there. So I think the doctor had something to do with it, but I might be wrong.
is the rightful heir to the throne of the King in Yellow. Together, they plan to erect an imperial dynasty of America built after the fashion of the lost imperial dynasty of Carcosa from the play. They believe that as the influence of the play has spread, the nation has become ready for an uprising, and that in the end, they will welcome Hildred as their new king. As this delusion takes hold, he becomes ever more sensitive about his mental health, lashing out at anyone who expresses worry for him. Before long, he's turned against everyone he loves. He's even willing to have his own cousin killed
Oh,
because he
damn.
believes the man to be before him in the line of succession, and thus the one thing blocking the way to his promised kingdom. Of course, this all ends in tragedy for our deluded hero. The sad coup, engineered by minds fractured and perverted through study of the play, inevitably unravels at the seams. As the authorities take him away to the asylum, he experiences one final moment of tragic clarity and shouts to his baffled cousin, "Ah, I see it now! You have seized the throne and the empire! Woe! Woe to you who are crowned with the crown of the King in Yellow!" A bit of an about face there to go from wanting to be the King in Yellow to crying out the woe of anyone who is crowned the king. But this theme of ruination in the promised paradise is one we're going to see play out over the course of the book. Speaking of which, the second story, and my personal favorite, is called The Mask. It's shockingly romantic for something so grim, but before it starts, it also gives us one of the only other excerpts from the play itself that we ever get. Camilla, you, sir, should unmask. Stranger, indeed. Casilda, indeed, it's time. We all have laid aside disguise but you. Stranger, I wear no mask. Camilla, terrified, aside to Casilda, no mask? No
I wonder
mask!
if this is the actual King
The King in Yellow, Act 1, Scene 2. Hold on to that. You really needed to understand this one. The story is one of longing and change and destiny. Alec is an artist with a circle of friends that he treasures above all else. One of them, Boris, is incredibly wealthy, living on a grand estate and funding novel experiments in the fields of art and chemistry. He even finds a new element that, in its liquid form, can turn living things into beautiful rose marble statues almost instantly. Another of Alec's dear friends, Genevieve, is the love of his life, but she's also Boris's lover. For all of their sakes, Alec does his best to be supportive of them in their relationship, pretending that it doesn't pain him. He calls this effort his mask, and it reminds him of the pallid mask from the play. Just like in the excerpt, he feels that the mask has stopped being a mask and become a part of him. Over the course of the story, as it becomes clear that his friends have also read the play, fate seems to reshuffle its hand for him.
So they've read so all these characters, by the sounds of it, have read the King in Yellow. Sorry if my tracking's just gone. But so they've all read the King in Yellow. So I presume every person, like, in each story has read the King in Yellow in some way, and so it's like affected them, and so and like different things happened to them. Like the first person, he wanted to like be like ruler and stuff, and like this one where it's like the like hiding like true feelings and stuff, but then it gets like all twisted, I
Genevieve
guess.
throws herself into
But
a
what the
pool of
fuck?
Boris's statue-creating fluid because of the agony of her repressed love for Alec.
Oh wait, hold
Boris,
on, hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Okay, so I didn't catch this when I watched it. So she is with him, so she's with Boris. I think that's his name, yeah. And so they're in love, they're married and stuff. He likes her, but then she also likes him. So why doesn't she be with him instead of him? That makes no sense. What is it? Because he's got more money or something?
Takes
Like,
his own life and leaves his entire estate to Alec.
oh shit,
Another
he
of his friends
dies.
travels abroad and becomes possessed with the idea that Alec is someone of terrible importance, rushing back to see him. And finally, it's revealed that the effects of the statue chemical do not last forever. Genevieve returns to life, and with no obstacles between them, she and Alec,
Oh
at last,
damn.
find their love.
Just imagine like they did this on purpose. Like they wanted the husband to die. And and she already knew that the effects wouldn't last because she's probably like kept the stuff that he's made. I need to actually read this. This is so interesting. Like like this is just a little theory I have. And then like so she it's like doesn't want to like hurt his feelings, so he just kind of offs himself and then oh god. That was a bit morbid. Um if there's I hope because this would be a really interesting series, to be fair, like, just having, like, King Yellow is, like, different, like, just as a series, not as a movie, like, it's because I feel like that would be just too much, like, for a movie. So, like, a like, series, if there is, please let me know, but, like, this I really would like to watch
The
this in, like
impression is one of a prince
yeah.
coming into his inheritance. As Alec dons the mask and at last becomes one with it, he takes the role of the interloper in that excerpt from the play we read earlier, the one we would assume to be the King in Yellow.
Hmm.
And leaving behind a trail of madness and death, his world seems to rush the crown onto his head.
Oh, so he
The
becomes
third
the new
story is
king,
quite a bit
okay.
simpler than the first two, but it's also very important. It's the only one that actually seems to embrace the entity of the King in Yellow rather than just the influence of the play. But even then, the king himself seems to be more of a symbol than anything. The story is called The Court of the Dragon, and it follows a man who, having read the play, seeks the comfort of a familiar church house. But something is wrong. While the pastor gives a decidedly strange sermon on how nothing can harm the soul, the organ music becomes dissonant, disturbing, almost nausea-inducing. When the man looks at the organist to
Oh
see who
god,
would
that's
play
not
such a
creepy at
tune,
all, what the
he
heck?
finds himself met with the most hateful gaze he's ever experienced.
That is
He
so
hurries out of the
creepy!
place, but the strange,
Like,
pale organist
weird,
follows him
especially with
into the
this
night,
answer.
stalking him all the way home. He's gripped by the notion that somehow this man is death itself, and that
Ooh.
there is no escape. When he's finally captured, he is not killed, but spirited away to another world, the ruined land of Carcosa, where the towers rise behind the moon and the cloud waves break, the awful abode of lost souls. And for the first
So
and
I
only
wonder if like Lost Carcosa is Carcosa, sorry, is like how do you put it? Like the afterlife, I guess. But like yeah, for like because he says like for like souls and stuff. I wonder if it's like an afterlife, but it's not like heaven or hell. It's like part way where like souls just can't go anywhere. I guess.
time
I don't know.
we encounter the King in Yellow himself,
Ooh.
who wraps the protagonist in radiance as he approaches, saying, "It is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God."
I'm just like trying to imagine what the King Yellow would have looked like in the such a world that doesn't exist because that would have been really interesting, like to see how they would have designed it. Obviously, they can't like. I presume they'll have like I don't know like a mod or something like added on, and then they'll have to like build like code and build this.
I
Is
suppose that once the truth of the play has you, there is no God left to turn to,
mm,
no comfort left to find. You are as good as lost. And finally, our fourth story, after which the play is hardly, if ever,
okay.
mentioned.
No, there are more stories. It's just I think these are the main ones because I think there's at least over 7, I think, but they're more like parts of other books, I think. I can't remember.
again in the book, the yellow sign. Again, if you're a fan of the Cthulhu mythos, this should be ringing some bells. And I'll admit, this one is pretty pulpy compared to the others, but it's also different in another important way. The main character, Mr. Scott, has not read the play. In fact,
Good.
he's sworn it off
Good.
entirely, knowing how it's
It's good.
influenced people like the late Hildred Castaigne, who was his friend.
What?
But the play is very insistent. Throughout the story, Scott is haunted by a strange, bloated, pale, corpse-like...
Okay, so if you don't read it, so if you come in contact with it but you don't read it, do you just get haunted by it? That's a bit
man
weird.
whose very
cruel.
presence makes it impossible for him to create his art.
They actually mean
At the same time, he and his lover are both plagued by dreams of his death.
Oh.
One night,
I'm
not
surprised the
knowing
love
what
is getting
she's done,
affected.
she brings him a
Oh.
brooch she's found in the street.
Oh, isn't
It
that
bears
the
a
symbol
strange
for-
yellow symbol which belongs to no known language of man. And as if this were an invitation, the King in Yellow suddenly appears in Scott's library.
Oh.
As they both succumb to its lure, reading it and discussing it in a daze, the corpse-like man comes upon them like the Reaper. He rots the door's lock at a touch, kills the girl, and then collapses into a pile
Oh.
of fetid flesh, finally at rest.
Ew.
When the authorities arrive,
Ew,
they say that
ew.
the man must have been dead for some time already. The story ends with Scott in
Okay.
psychiatric care,
Okay.
praying for death. But the prayers are cut
So I
short.
wonder if they think he killed his wife because they said that the body was dead for quite some time. So I wonder because they sent him to a psychiatric like hospital or something, and so I wonder if that like he people thought he was like mentally insane. I mean, this doesn't explain it, but also another thing, I wonder what because I know Searching for a World Doesn't Exist is based off the King Yellow, but I wonder which story from the book actually influenced it the most because you had like some because I can see like some of the stories that are talked about in this video like being tied in, if you know what I mean.
And we never find out why.
Mm.
So it looks like the play is more than just a weird piece of literature that drives you mad. It really does seem like a virus working through the will of the ones it touches to make itself known, even to those who wish not to know it.
It's weird, although but I'm sorry if I keep like pausing so much, but like the story itself, it doesn't actually say what's in the book, I don't think. Like it doesn't actually talk about the contents in the book. It just talks about people who've read the book and what's happened to them. So I want to know like what actually happens in the book for people to like go insane.
I wonder if its author even really had a choice. After this story, the rest spiral off into what feels like pretty aimless romanticism. Art Nouveau culture in Paris, wartime ruminations on the nature of love, prophetic vignettes, time-traveling lovers, but hardly anything else about the King in Yellow. It's hard to know why these are in the collection at all, but there they are. And still, even in just these first 4 stories, my goodness, there is a lot to find. I could go on for a very long time about my personal thoughts and interpretations, the philosophical implications of all afterlives vanishing, a usurper god slipping in to take their place, the journey of the soul becoming terminal rather than something transcendent. But I really don't think that's the point of the play in these stories. I think the play is actually something far more concrete and surprisingly relatable. To me, it serves as a demonstration, not just a powerful piece of literature unto itself, but a show of what words can truly do. An example of the pinnacle of language's power to influence the ones who read or hear it. In the version of the book I read, there's a foreword by the writer Nick Pizzolatto who explains this so beautifully. The idea of magic words has always felt misunderstood to me. The magic is not in the words themselves, or any particular word, because they are, after all, empty vessels. The magic is only ever using the right words in the exact right way. The secret knowledge lies in arranging, say, the 26 symbols of our English alphabet into a configuration which reliably produces an intended effect upon the audience, perhaps and even especially against that audience's wishes. Configurations most commonly categorized as story, poem, lyric, or play. Then there's no end to the capabilities of language and its power over human beings, its ability to engender the most overwhelming emotional states. Put words to music, and the entire world can move. We writers know this. We're almost obsessive about it, always searching for the right words, trying to create the perfect effect. It's our way of working true magic, and we can be so wrapped up in it, we don't stop to consider the unintended consequences. Think of the play. Think of its dark, corrupting message. As readers, we don't know what that message actually is, only that it wants to spread. I don't think that's particularly unique. After a fashion, I'd say that all information wants to spread, and language is its primary vector. Be careful what you release into the world. You aren't responsible for what people take from your work, but you are responsible for what you give. Love your art enough not to make it a vector for falsehood, evil, hatred. Love your words enough to choose them well. And that would be where the video ends, except I have more to say. There's a whole missing section of this video about my interpretation of the play itself. I discussed the original short story that inspired it, as well as some references to mythology to figure out what it actually may be about. It's a little beside the point and very speculative, so we ultimately had to trim it for time, but I couldn't quite let it all go. I had to keep a full version of the video out there somewhere. It seemed right. Thankfully, there is a place where we can share that stuff, where we don't have to worry about streamlining our content so it's a perfect fit for attention spans and algorithms. You can watch it over on our creator-owned streaming platform, Nebula. YouTube is a weird place for educational content. It's hard to be as honest and open as you want to while trying to satisfy the algorithm and trying to dodge some kind of terrible fate like channel-wide demonetization, which has actually happened to us before. So, a bunch of us educational creators got together and made our own platform where we don't have to worry about all of that. You can find all of our videos there ad-free and full of additional content we normally have to cut out for YouTube, including the extended version of this video. And we're not the only ones. The same is true for so many other amazing creators. It's basically our safe haven for the material we wish we could share here, Theo. There's usually a few weeks between uploads, so if you want more Tale Foundry in the meantime, come join our community. We have a Discord server that's basically like a big family of creatives. A lot of love there. Aww, so many writers and artists have made it their home, and we would love to have you as well. You can find links to it in the description. Hope to see you there. Until then, thanks for watching and keep making stuff up. I'll see you next time. Bye.
Okay, so that was quite interesting, video, because it talks about the effects of the King in Yellow book, but it doesn't actually, say who the King in Yellow is, which is what the next video is about, actually. It's about who the heck the King in Yellow is. And, yeah. So it's this video, beautiful video here. I really like the art of it. It's just so cool. So let's go and watch this video.
Along the shore, the cloud waves break. The twin suns sink behind the lake. The shadows lengthen in Carcosa.
This video.
This is an excerpt from a poem called Casilda's Song. Don't go looking for it. It exists only in the pages of a mysterious banned play called The King in Yellow. Since the piece has gone out of circulation, it's become extremely hard to find. But if you were to get your hands on a copy, you'd know immediately why it was banned. The first act seems innocent enough, a commonplace, if decadent drama. But by the end of the second, your very grasp on reality would be shaken. Reading the play changes a person in ways difficult to describe. What you see in the pages of that script, what you unlock within your own imagination, there is no coming back from. Insanity, delusion, hopelessness, terror, These are what this text leaves in its wake, wherever it surfaces. Fortunately, it's also complete fiction. The play was invented by Robert W. Chambers for his short story collection by the same name, The King in Yellow. A while back, we did a video summarizing all the key stories in the book, and they are so fascinating. A man becomes convinced he's the heir apparent to the imperial dynasty of America. A couple is stalked by a corpse-like apparition that goads them into reading the terrible text. A churchgoer is pursued through the streets of his hometown by an otherworldly emissary in the guise of an organist. And at the center of it all, the play. But even after reading all of that, I still find myself wondering, who or what is this mysterious King in Yellow? He himself barely appears in the stories at all, but he's also apparently right at the heart of the horror. Is he really the cosmic tentacle monster that the Lovecraftian weird fiction writers make him out to be? Or is he something far scarier?
I think they've also got like an actual poster of what they believe the King in Yellow to look like. I mean, it is quite beautiful, and I really want to get my hands on one, but I'll have to think about
I mentioned
it.
that video where we basically abridged the key stories from The King in Yellow earlier. Well, we actually made an extended version of it that offers a bunch of stuff we couldn't include in either video. If you really want to know about this body of work, that video is one of the best things I can recommend. It's available for you to watch right now, ad-free, over on our streaming platform Nebula, as well as a ton of other original content that will never be here on YouTube. Visit go.nebula.tv/talefoundry to sign up for just $2.50 a month. Strange is the night where black stars rise, and strange moons circle through the skies. But stranger still is lost Carcosa. Another fragment of the mysterious Casilda song. You begin to notice a pattern here. The poem is painting a picture of a strange land, one submerged in a lake of clouds, where twin suns set and black stars rise and strange moons circle through the skies. A land itself stranger than all the things it contains, the city of Carcosa. Like the King in Yellow himself, there's hardly any mention of this place in the stories, but you don't have to look far to find an answer. The poem Casilda's Song draws heavily on yet another story, one written 9 years before Chambers put together this collection. A story that, I believe, holds the key to understanding the enigmatic, masked figure at the center of all this.
So what I'm getting from this is that the author of The King in Yellow got inspired by another thing, which also had the King in Yellow. I think that's what I'm getting from this.
Singular piece written by Gothic horror author Ambrose Bierce. It's called An Inhabitant of Carcosa. And in addition to just...
So the author of King Yellow gets inspired by the so for Carcosa by this. Okay.
Being a really strange story, it's also quite an experience. An account written in first person by someone who, in spirit, actually visits the land of Carcosa. When you're reading it, it almost feels like it's happening to you. Let me help you imagine. You are someplace else. A chill wind blows against your face, reawakening your senses to their new surroundings. The last few seconds are gone, as if you'd been lost in a daydream. Where are you? Where were you going? Where did you begin? Your surroundings are entirely alien to you. A plain of dry, withered grass stretches out in all directions, rustling quietly in the breeze. The monotony of the landscape is broken only by the rare shadow of a sickly tree. Somber-colored rocks jut out strangely from the earth, as if the land itself had reared its head heavenward long ago, staring to the sky, perhaps in anticipation of some terrible event to come. It must be late in the day. No matter where you look, you can see no sun in the sky. A blanket of leaden clouds hang overhead like a curse. You know distantly that it is cold, yet you yourself do not feel the cold. Except for the whispering of the grass and the parched branches, all is eerily silent. As you wander through this forlorn place, you begin to notice something strange. What you took at first to be stones jutting out of the earth are actually tombstones. Fragments of hewn
That's
stone
not creepy
hidden in
at
the
all.
brush, moss-grown and weathered, many half sunken into the ground. The further you go, the more you find.
Ooh.
Here
So
are
it's
the
like a
massive
graveyard.
blocks of ancient tombs,
So is
stained and forgotten.
Carcosa like
Here are the
a
ruins of
graveyard?
pompous monuments, a vain attempt by some far distant people of the past to defy oblivion. At the site of this burial ground, something surfaces in your memory. That gap. The strange and sudden transit to this place. It hadn't been a daydream. It had been a fever. That's right. You remember now. You'd been ill, raving mad, delirious. Your family had tried to keep you in your bed, but somehow you'd gotten free and, in your delirium, found your way here, to this forsaken place. Very far indeed from your home. Carcosa. The name is already there in your mind. You can recall precious little, but of this much you are certain. You are here to be welcomed into the great city of Carcosa. How you came instead to this desolate land of the dead, you cannot say. As you ponder how you've become so lost, how to find your way to the city you seek, your thoughts are interrupted by a sudden sound in the stillness. You wheel around in time to see the wild lynx padding toward you. Your efforts to shoo it away, your shouts, your panicked gesticulations, mean nothing to it. It passes by without ever seeming to notice your presence, coming within inches of where you stand, before finally disappearing behind a rock. And while you're yet standing there, bemused, watching the place where the lynx has gone, you are approached again. This time by a man, holding a torch in his hand, naked except for some rough animal skins. His beard is ragged and unkempt. He seems not to see you yet. Knowing that this is your chance to finally get your bearings, you move to intercept him. But like the lynx, he too seems entirely oblivious to your existence. He does not respond to your words, does not meet your gaze. He only walks on, chanting quietly in a primal, unknown tongue. Surely he must have seen you. It's not even night yet. Why would both he and the lynx ignore you this way? But no, you realize there are stars peeking out from behind the clouds. You hear an owl in a nearby tree. Lynxes hunt at night. The torch. It is night, yet you see no darkness. There is a chill wind, yet you feel no cold.
Is different from what
You
is actually
see,
there.
yet are not seen.
So it's
What
yeah,
awful spell has
contradiction.
befallen you? What dismal realm have you entered into? You seat yourself at the foot of one of the ancient trees to consider what's going on. It's odd. Despite the strange absence of darkness, of cold, despite your apparent inability to be seen, you feel exhilarated, heightened.
Wow,
It's as
that's
if you can
pretty weird.
hear the silence, feel the substance of the very air. In your musings, you realize you're sitting beside one of the infinite scattered tombstones. The roots of the tree have grown around it curiously, encasing it, protecting it from the same erosion all the others have suffered. As you stare, a sudden breeze blows the dry leaves and twigs from the stone surface, revealing a rare, still legible inscription. You bend to read. God in heaven, it's your name, your date of birth, your time of death.
Ooh,
You
okay,
spring
so
to
when
your...
you I presume because he's in Carcosa, so I wonder if let's say you because okay, so I don't think this has anything to do with the King Yellow. Is once the King Yellow's been written, Carcosa is like implemented. So Carcosa is implemented into the King Yellow, but the original story of Carcosa has nothing to do with that. I think. Okay. So then, okay. So with Carcosa, if you die and you go to Carcosa instead of like heaven or hell, you don't realize that you've died, and you think you're just somewhere like in a dream, basically, because this character had like a fever, and so they didn't realize they most likely died from that fever. But like Also, it could also have something to do if like they've gone mad. Because they did say we were like delirious and stuff, and instead of just having a fever and just like just being there, just being there, we're like you might have to like have like certain requirements to go to Carcosa, I think, and then like once you so you know you're in Carcosa, but then you don't know that you actually died. So do people not know that Carcosa is a place where dead people go? Well, they must know. Because if you they just think that they're just there living, but they're actually dead, so they're a spirit.
Feet in terror. The sun is rising now, rosy in the east. Yet, on the trunk of the tree where you should have cast a shadow, no shadow falls.
Oh, it's still
A distant
contradicting.
chorus
What
of
the
howling
heck?
wolves salutes the dawn. As you scan the endless landscape from horizon to horizon, you know now, with a dread certainty, that these are the ruins of the city that you seek. This desolate wasteland, this dismal place of
Okay,
death.
so he just said the city that you seek. So if the people are trying to, so people that try to find Carcosa end up being that do end up being in Carcosa, they don't realize like how bad it is, I
And
guess.
vanishment is all
I
that
don't
remains
know.
of the great city, Carcosa. Songs that the Hyades shall sing, where flap the tatters of the king, must die unheard
I know,
in dim
King Yellow
Carcosa.
has to be.
If you really pay attention to this story, it creates an interesting foundation for understanding the King in Yellow. Yes, the play drives you mad. Yes, it obviously contains some kind of cosmic revelation. But without this tale, this background, it's very easy for it all to look like yet another Lovecraftian horror, one of a million unspeakable cosmic entities. In fact, after his death, the neo-Lovecraftian weird fiction writers took the scant few allusions Lovecraft made to this character in his works and ran away with it entirely. Now, he's most commonly known as a yellow-cloaked, vaguely octopoid, godlike thing, which they've named Hastur for some reason. If you love
What?
it, you love it. But after reading An Inhabitant of Carcosa, I can't divorce this figure from the concept of the afterlife. Think about it. The story is very clearly about a deceased wanderer searching for their promised city. It may be called Carcosa here, but it's very easy to interpret that as heaven. And if you take it that way, then the fact that the city is in ruins is quite a revelation indeed. Imagine making it to heaven, only to realize that heaven is gone. Imagine finding that out definitively while you're still alive. Even if you don't believe in heaven, the idea of spending eternity in this wasteland is still very scary. Enough even to drive you mad, perhaps? And if this is the kingdom that the King in Yellow supposedly came to rule, I think that could suggest some very interesting roles for this character. Perhaps he's a kind of usurper deity who deposed God and brought heaven to ruin. Maybe he's a sort of demiurge, a false creator god who stands between humanity and God's true light. In which case the ruins of Carcosa are what you see when the facade is peeled away, when the true fruits of his impotent hand are
So I
revealed.
wonder if the actual like King Yellow book is about destruction of Carcosa. So like, because people want to find Carcosa probably because it's like a place they want to like. They think it's like a really good place, like heaven. And like he said, once they find out it's in ruins, they think, oh, heaven's destroyed. So maybe that's why? I don't know.
A lot of interesting ways to take this, but my personal favorite way to interpret the King in Yellow is far subtler. Not a usurper, not a demiurge, not a being at all. No, I like to imagine the King in Yellow as the metaphorical corpse of God. The
That's
King
really
in
interesting.
Yellow. Yellow, the color of sunshine, happiness, the color of fantasy, treason, sensuality, repulsiveness, infamy, seduction.
Okay, funny enough, I did actually I in graphics so um since I go to college and stuff and I'm doing graphics, I recently did color psychology And we had to look up different meanings, like positive and negatives of each color and all that sort of stuff. And I wanted to implement the king in yellow in this. And when I searched up, yellow meant mad, like madness. And I have it written down. I don't know where my notes have gone though, and I kind of need them. Shit.
Lure, decay, and most tellingly, decadence. Around the time that Chambers first published his book, the decadent movement of the 19th century was still in full swing. The decadents were a literary and artistic wave which revolted against mundanity and celebrated excess, artificiality, degeneration. Decadent works were often gleefully shocking, contrarian, perverse. At the tail end of the century, there was a British literary journal called the Yellow Book, which made decadent fiction a staple of its publication. In fact, the color yellow became so associated with the lurid that bookstores began packaging illicit novels in yellow jackets as a sort of code.
It's
Oscar
like
Wilde's
with the,
decadent play Salome.
like arsenic green color, where like people like really like the color and like used it as like paint and like in their clothing, but it was like really poisonous.
Published just a few years before The King in Yellow, was banned in Britain and may have served as an inspiration for Chambers' fictional play. Just to give you an idea of what they were censoring here, at the end of Salome, the titular princess has a man's head delivered to her on a silver platter, speaks to it passionately as if he were still alive, and then kisses its still bloody lips.
Ew.
Decadents didn't believe in the
gross.
rules that society had placed on art and literature. To them, art was beholden to no rules. Art was autonomous. Art was high meaning. Art was all. Nature, science, morality, society, rational thinking, the things that, for all of history, people had based their definitions of truth on. To the decadents, these things had no special status. The decadents didn't believe in a higher truth. They didn't believe that the natural world contained any more meaning or validity than the illusions and fantasies they constructed with their art. In fact, they despised the idea of assuming the primacy of reality. As the decadent author Arthur Brisky said, "Isn't it necessary to believe a beautiful mask more than reality?" This strikes a chord for me because the pallid mask is one of the key attributes of the enigmatic King in Yellow himself. In fact, in Robert Chambers' short story, The Mask, we get perhaps the only other glimpse of the play itself outside of the poem Casilda's Song. A tiny excerpt right at the story's start where a pair of characters speak with a mysterious stranger at a masquerade ball. When asked to remove his disturbing mask, he answers simply that he is not, in fact, wearing a mask.
So it is
This seems to be the turning point in the play, where the nature of this mysterious interloper is revealed and the King in Yellow comes forth. Act 1 ends with the agonized screams of those who've beheld him echoing through the dim streets of Carcosa. I can't speak for Chambers, but to me this feels like a pretty powerful metaphor. You can take this as an interpretation of what the decadents were doing. These were people who eschewed any concept of meaning or higher truth. You could say that, in a manner of speaking, they killed God. In trying to build their paradise, their Carcosa, they brought heaven to ruin. In constructing their fabulous mask, they became the mask, with nothing at all beneath, hollow, empty. And if you step back and think of who the decadents were, you realize this doesn't just have to be about a historical movement. The King in Yellow isn't just a critique or a response. He's a symbol for estrangement from higher truths, a representation of a deluded, shallow life that aspires only toward itself, an avatar of a cold, senseless existence that promises nothing. There's no way to tell whether they're actually connected, but Carcosa has a possible parallel in the poem Carcassonne by Gustave Naudad. It's about an old man who has his whole life dreamed of one thing, to see the city of Carcassonne. If only he had, he could die content. But almost as soon as he sets out to fulfill his dreams, tragically, he dies on the road there.
So maybe this is
the last two lines of the poem are, "He never gazed on Carcassonne. Each mortal has his Carcassonne." Much like the city of Carcosa, I think you can very easily take Carcassonne to represent heaven, truth, meaning, the glory of the really
I wonder
high
because he said like everyone has his Carcassonne. That could mean that once someone dies, a new part of like Carcosa gets destroyed or built. Well, Carcassonne, it sounds more like it's been built, while Carsona, is it? Hold on. No, Carcosa. Oh my god, I can't. Carcosa is like, so like every good like it builds, but after a while it just got, so after like I would say the King Yellow is born, everyone who dies starts destroying Carcosa. So Carsacone is where it gets built, and Carcosa is where it gets destroyed, and I think that's what happens after the King Yellow like kind of appeared. I don't know. That's what I think it's saying. Let me know what you guys think.
and pure. In order to remain sane, you humans want and need to search for real truth. And I don't even mean that in a religious or spiritual sense. I mean it philosophically. You need to believe that there is something out there that is everlasting, natural, something
True.
supremely beautiful
Even
that
if you
glorifies
don't,
existence.
you
Even if it's
can't
just an
really.
ideal, even if it's only ever a belief, it's better than the alternative. To dream of your Carcassonne is better than to supplant it with masks and illusions. This, at least, seems to be the horror that the King in Yellow brings with him in the stories. Not tentacles, not bizarre glyphs in an unspeakable tongue, not
I like
eldritch
his like interpretation of the King Yellow. Instead of the King Yellow being like a physical body, it's like a metaphor of like God that's dead, because like because I'm not that much into like Ari and stuff. I've never been, but what I have like learned in like when I was at school is that like some religions like interpret God as nothing. And what I mean by that, he doesn't have like a physical form like what's been depicted by most religions. So it's really interesting because like religion obviously plays a big role into this, and so I
cosmic
don't know.
lineage. The King in Yellow is an incarnation of spiritual meaninglessness. The hollow deity who is himself a mask. You've heard almost all of the poem
Maybe
Casilda's
it's a
song by
mask
now.
like the mask like tries to hide the meaninglessness, like with the mask, it kind of makes him have like a purpose of like existing instead of like just being there to not do anything. I wonder, that'll be interesting.
But the last few lines read, Song of my soul, my voice is dead. Die thou unsung, as tears unshed shall dry and die in lost Carcosa. The King in Yellow is the promise that those who believe in no truth or meaning get none.
That's really interesting.
I mentioned that video where we basically abridged the key stories from the King in Yellow earlier. Well, there's an extended version of it with some interpretations of those stories and how they relate to the story you heard in this video, An Inhabitant of Carcosa, that we just couldn't fit here. If you really want to know about this body of work, that video is one of the best things I can recommend. It's available for you to watch right now, ad-free, over on our streaming platform, Nebula. Actually, we've got a bunch of stuff over there that won't ever be on YouTube. Full videos, like this one about a fantasy world that basically has its own gigantic geographic genitalia, or this one about the morphology of angels and why artists are always giving them wings, even though they didn't really have them in the source material. You can find all our videos there a week earlier than they upload on YouTube, plus all these exclusive videos we only upload to Nebula. We even have an entire original series called Worldsmiths over there that we are just so proud of. Anyway, that's all for this one. Thanks for watching and keep making stuff up. I'll see you next week. Bye.
I really like his voice. His voice is just so nice just to listen to. It's like it's got a nice calming essence to it. But yeah, I really enjoyed those two videos because like I said, I really like the Minecraft ARG. I am planning on reacting to like some. I Again, I have a list. I've got like a list of like things that I would want to react to stuff. Um, I will definitely watch more Tail Foundry stuff. I think the next one I want to do is the robot apocalypse because there are like some stories that I don't really read books that much or like watch movies and like series that much. I'm just lazy. I'm not that type of person to just get into something. But like there has been like a few things where I have read them, but like not like finished reading them. And there was like this one book I read in second yeah, at school, where it was like a robot apocalypse, and it's in the POV of a robot, and then he finds this human. I'm not sure, and then like because she's been living underground with like the last like humans on Earth, basically, because like everything else is like run by like robots and stuff, and every robot has like a role, and so they scan and then gets all crazy and stuff. And I just really liked that, so I would like to watch like more robot apocalypse type things. I think that would be quite nice. Minecraft ALGs, I've got um there's okay there's two that I got on here that I definitely want to watch. um Got people on the server have been going missing, and this disturbing world changes every time I log out. And this by Zacho Builds. I think that's the channel name. So I definitely want to watch those ones, and also there are some from wifey's that I want to watch, and I will also definitely watch more shoot from the hip videos. I may I because the It depends if I have time because the shoot from the hip videos do come out late, and I tend to be a bit busy on a Sunday night. So and I tend to just like watch them in my free time, so I don't have like it just kind of spoils it. And also they split it into two videos. So you got the first half and you got the second half, and I just rather have it just in one, and I don't like waiting to watch a video. I just hate doing that. But I might react to some of their fandom videos. Like you got channels like Stab from the Hip. There was this one video where they put the whole of their plays up to like a certain point in like a timeline. I've like watched that. But there's also like some other things. There's also some Roll from the Hips fandom stuff that I also want to watch as well, because I've like seen a few like cute animations, and they're just really funny. But anyways, please let me know what you would like to see in the next video. I might yeah, I've just got other things that I might watch. I might do Minecraft ALGs for the next video, and then I'll do like a rotation where it was Shoot from the Hip, Tail Foundry, Minecraft, and then like if there's any other things I want to watch, I'll plan it out. And also if there's anything else I want to do. I do have something special planned for the future, but I'm gonna wait for that. So is it I can't wait. It's gonna be different from the videos that I've been posting up until now. So I can't wait to actually start doing it, because I feel like I'll have so much fun like doing it, and I'll see if you guys like like what's gonna happen. I'm not gonna spoil anything. It'll be a little like nice surprise. It's not like anything like major, like me debuting like streaming. I'm planning on actually doing that in the summer, hopefully. I don't know. I've got my room to do. So so but yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know what you would like to see in the future, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.